Yes, I have fewer hours in the day than my competitors. And yes, I might be behind some models. Maybe I'm behind Opus 4.6 or whatever. But I'm observing that I've drawn a quality that I would have not drawn otherwise, which is the ability to think long-term in a way that's very grounding and gives me a lot more joy in the process, where I can see myself in this role as a CEO for, I said it to my husband and he thinks it's funny, until I'm 150.
This is Full Stack Moms.
This is not a parenting podcast, nor a business podcast, but a place where we talk building careers in tech, raising kids at home, and making it work in public. Happy birthday. Thanks for spending your birthday with us.
I can't imagine a better way. I really can't.
That's a huge compliment. We're excited to talk to you today. Well, I thought to start off, we could just get some fast sort of like facts from you. And, you know, a lot of people do like their lightning round at the end of their session. I kind of want to do it in the beginning and just ask about your family. That way everyone kind of understands up front what we're working with. So how many children do you have?
I have 4 kids.
4 kids. Okay. And do you mind sharing their ages?
Yeah, so I have 2 bonus kids. They're 21 and 18. And then the ones that I gave birth to are 7 and 8 and 5. So
7 and
girl,
5.
girl, boy, boy.
Oh, that's
You have 2
awesome.
cohorts.
2 cohorts,
I
yes. First cohort in training, second training, still in training.
Still in training.
Still always
tell me
in
about
training.
it. Oh my God. Seriously.
Cool. Okay. And where do you guys live?
During the week, we're in Brooklyn, and that's where I work as well. During the weekend, I have the good fortune of escaping Brooklyn and the nature. We're in a town called Sag Harbor, where it's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to be grounding in nature, putting my feet in the ground, touching grass. Yeah, I
Touch
get
grass
both of-
every weekend. That's great.
Yeah.
And obviously you are the CEO of Chili Piper. That is where you work.
That's where I am. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Anything you want to say quickly about Chili Piper?
Chili Piper is the most beautiful puzzle I've ever worked on in my entire life. We are building agents for marketers and for GTM engineers and for ops people to help them create more pipelines so that they get promoted and get more within the company that they're at. I can't imagine on working something more beautiful, at least for me.
And Alina, we worked together a few times when I was the VP of marketing at Mad Kudu, but we didn't really ever meet. So that's why I was like, in my mind, we knew each other, but I was like, maybe we didn't actually. So it's really nice to actually get to talk to you face to face.
Okay. Yes, we've exchanged some emails.
Yes, for sure. I know. I was like, oh yeah, I know her. Then I was like, wait a minute. I think I've made that up. I was like, I think actually we just have been friends on the internet.
You know, it's beautiful for me that, well, for some people it's beautiful, for some people it's scary, because I post so much of me online. When I meet people, they feel like they have the entire full story on me, and me, I don't. They call it, I don't know what they call it,
Parasocial.
Yeah,
Parasocial.
Relationship.
Yeah.
And it's, imagine you meet people on the street and they know so much about you already, and they feel like they're approaching it, and they should, like, they're talking to you like a friend, and you don't know who they are, and it's like...
That's trippy.
So you're kind of famous. It's not your fault, you know? Like it just
in
happened.
in our space, in our environment, a little bit. So at events, I am recognized, but and sometimes I'm recognized in Brooklyn too now, and in the elevator, it's kind of like weird, but yeah, this is what I got myself in.
Did you ever
That's
think
so
that would be a
fun.
part of this job? Like,
Not
did you
at
ever
all.
think?
Not at all. No. 3 years ago, I never spoke on any podcast. I was not on any stage, and I told my marketing team, this is not for me. I'm not going to be public at all, 0. But yeah, that was not what fate had for me. The path that I was meant to walk on is different, yeah.
Oh, you have such an awesome story that I think it's impossible for people to not find out about it and then want to do more of that conversation and learn about what you're doing. So
I'm so excited about that, because I think that there are so few leaders at the top, CEOs, who are moms and can post about all the challenges online. And I don't know anyone who posts all their mom stuff as a CEO online. So I must be one of the few that gives people courage that maybe it's possible. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I totally think so. I mean, Shannon's the CEO of her business, her fractional marketing business.
Yeah.
So
I made this choice when I went out on my own. I don't run a tens of millions of dollars software company, right? I run a services business, but I like told myself I'm going to mom as loud as I can. Like that is the thing that I promised to myself, that I don't report to anybody. No one tells me how to do this, right? So this is really important to me to show other people that this is totally possible. Like I got a message yesterday from the head of CS at one of my clients, and she was like, I love all the stuff you're posting about being a working mom. She's like, I'm in my early 30s. Like I was worried about becoming a mom and not being able to continue my career the way I wanted to, or like that people would take me less seriously. And she's like, but I see that you're like doing really well and you're super, super like probably potentially obnoxious about how much of a mom I am, right? Like that is like, and I have really little kids, so I'm kind of new to the mom. I'm newer to being a mom than I am to being a professional marketer, right? So I think there's like a lot of value in that. And Alina, I think you're totally leading from the front in that place. Like, what made you want to do it? Is it something you've always thought is important to integrate your work and your life and being a mom? What was the thought process behind that?
Before I get to that answer, I'm curious, Shannon, what was the moment for you? Like, when did you decide to post and why? Sorry to transform this podcast into reverse.
No, I love it. It always turns into just like gal chat because we're all like, no, when I got pregnant, it didn't hit me then. Like, I was like, oh, okay, I just feel not great, but I'm still doing my job, right? I didn't feel like a mom yet. And I don't even think I felt like a mom until my son was like, to be fair, maybe over a year. But during the newborn days, when I went back to work, I was like, whoa, like this is wild. Like, I can't believe we do this. Like, this feels so crazy because now I've said this before, like 200% of the work that everyone else has. So like, I like don't understand how, and I'm like breastfeeding a baby during executive meetings. And I'm like thinking about like, it's just a lot of mental load. That's the part that I don't think you understand until you experience it, is like the things that you're thinking about all the time. And I just felt so, I've always been the kind of person that like loves to share my experiences, for better or for worse. Maybe it's like the Gemini in me, but I can't shut up. So I was like, this feels so important to me right now, and I have to share it. And because it feels so important for me to tell other women that like or other mothers or other, parents for that matter, like I'm going to fight to do both of these things. Like I'm so stubborn too. I'm like, I refuse to live a life where I cannot be my total self in all the places I am. And so I was like, maybe if I just am really loud about it and I just like there's some kind of like grit about being your own boss too, of like, hey, if you're going to pay me this much money, I'm going to do this job for you, but my daughter's going to be on these calls. What do they say? Like, I guess they can say they don't want to hire me, and that's cool, but other people will.
Take it or leave it.
And I think, yeah, exactly. And it just felt really different. Like I had a lot more like agency,
conviction
once I went out on my own, and courage, right? Like and it felt so important to me, like to make sure for women behind me, right? Like to pull them up the ladder of like, this has to continue to get easier. Like this can't stay like this forever and can't just keep getting harder, right? Like I want to make this easier for people that are coming behind me too. So I think it was a slow experience, but it just kept getting more and more validated the more and more I got into motherhood too, because it just gets harder. The issues just keep getting harder, right? So I don't know if that answered your question well, but
no,
but I want to know your answer.
That's very interesting. I only started to post on social media about this I hadn't posted before at all, anything, not even on motherhood, when my youngest one was 2. So kind of similar situation like yours. And the only reason why prior to that, I said, I do not need attention. It's just, I got used to being the one who helps and being the one who's like there for others. I was not the one that needed spotlight on me. So I just like didn't see the need for doing that. What changed for me was something very specific at that time, was the war in Ukraine when it started, and I could see the moms and the babies kind of going to the borders. And I was imagining myself with a baby having to start evacuating and there were so many moms, and they were close to my home country, which is Romania, trying to find a path and with the diapers, without any money, without any kind of support. And I just couldn't stay silent. So I started posting online about the war. At the time, there wasn't anything about it in the news cycle. So I started raising money. I created a document to help the moms get to safety, to make sure that there's diapers, that there's milk, and all of those things that were needed. And I could see that I touched so many lives at that moment, where I got so many messages of people thanking me for spreading all these paths for making sure that there's donations at the borders, that people get into safety. And I was getting goosebumps. And I could see
that's amazing. That's amazing.
And I'm not saying that as a to talk about or brag about that. It was just like such a beautiful moment where social media can be used for good and for change and for impact. And it was not about me and myself like putting spotlight on me. It was helping the others. And I said, fuck it, I'm just not going to stay silent if that's the things that I can create. So that's when I started speaking.
And what was the reception like right away? Like I feel people talk all the time now about like your content and how impactful it is. Like what's been the impact for you personally since you were able to share?
I feel extremely privileged to be able to have an impact. I feel extremely overwhelmed as well. So for instance, today is my birthday and I got so many messages and so beautiful, like hundreds and hundreds of messages. On one side, I feel it's so, I always text my mom, I was like, I can't believe that I can spend my entire day just like conversing with people celebrating that I was born. Was like, I can't imagine like a more beautiful gift. And at the same time, I feel a little bit torn and sad because the mom in me wants to respond to everybody and wants to make sure that everybody gets seen, everybody gets understood. But I'm just not able to do that. I can't clone myself because I feel so strongly that it's me who responds, not an AI agent and not through an assistant that pretends to be me. I just can't see everybody anymore. It's like the inbox is a sea of messages that I can't respond anymore. And that makes me sad. And I just have to find the system and the rhythm and an acceptance inside of me that I will not be able to take care of everybody. I will not be able to see everybody. I will not be able to understand everybody. And that's very hard for me.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think that you sharing publicly the things that you've struggled with or achieved or how you approach it, it's a way for you to still talk to those people without replying to them. So they still get that learning from you or that validation from you, even though you can't reply to everyone. So I think that that's kind of like the next best thing, maybe.
Yeah, I try to respond or to kind of reverberate the messages I'm hearing through many to one, like to the posts that I have to have the impact that I can through that. But for us moms, we're so wired to be there for others and to be pillars and to be providing. And when you create this kind of persona online where people see you, it's amplifies that. So I have the shadows inside of me that I have to face thoroughly. I can't be there for everybody at the same time, even for my children. It's so difficult.
Yeah. I would love to know when you talk with your kids about Chili Piper and your work, and obviously your husband is very involved in the business too. You guys founded it together. How do you guys talk about work with your kids, and how much do they know about your business?
That's the most fun part of it all. And the reason why it's most fun is because my kids are extremely different and they all like perceive the life and the lenses through their own the little selves and the versions of that are putting. So for instance, my 7-year-old loves Monopoly, loves Monopoly. And he understands all the premises of the game and the renting and the properties and all those things.
Yeah.
So
He's going to be an investment banker.
He sees Chili Piper through that prism. So he asks me so many questions. How many customers? How much they're paying? How do they find us? Yeah, and what am I working at work? And what my challenges are and why I can't make this work? And I'm like, oh. And he like puts so many
It's like a VC.
Yeah. Tiny VC.
I think when he's 18, he's going to be able to run the company better than I am. Yeah. He's
Family business, baby. Look at that.
He's so... It's amazing to watch.
But the younger one, not as much.
The younger one has a very different zone of genius, and it's around joy and entertainment and comedy. So he's only 5, but he wants to be a magic influencer, an influencer in magic.
Oh, fun.
Does not care about how many customers Chili Piper has. Not relevant to him.
No, it's all about awe. It's all about experiences. It's like he wants to create an experience. He wants to sing and like display lots of things, which is also beautiful because part of culture and part of marketing is also about awe. So he's teaching me through that lens. I think that they're my best teachers, really.
Oh, that's wonderful. I have always loved seeing a few of the things that you post where you're at a work event, but your kids are there. And I think that that's so fun. And personally, I haven't done that, very much. I've brought the kids to the office with me before, or I've taken them on a business trip before. but never to like a fun work event where they get to kind of participate in that. So I think that that is something that I've loved to see you share. And with your role, it's your show, it's your company, it's your call. I just think it's awesome that you've kind of brought them along in that way and you've normalized that. And it makes me curious, like, if you see other employees at Chili Piper, you know, doing similar things. Have you seen that sort of trickle down?
I think it's beautiful that you're pointing it out that the CEO giving permission to the employees is different, because as an employee, I would see that I would have had a different mindset around it, a bit more difficult. We're remote, and we've been remote since 2016, and we see moms with their kids breastfeeding all the time. We see moms with, and dads also with their kids on their lap and on their back, and it's been so normalized that I don't even think of it anymore. But now I realize that maybe it's not that normal, yeah. In other parts of the world, it's not that normal.
Yeah.
And how do you decide which events you bring your kids to? Because I know that, like, how amazing it must be to experience them watching their mom speak on stage and, like, watching their mom work and their dad work, right? Like, work together. It's funny, my son this week, so my husband's an electrician, and so he goes to work, right? Like, he leaves, and I had to kind of get my son used to the fact that dad's not going to be there in the morning to get him out of his crib, because my husband was off from work for like a year when we had kids. And the other day he goes, "Oh, daddy's at work." And I said, "Yeah, and you know, mommy works later." He goes, "Oh no, mommy doesn't work," because he doesn't realize that what I'm doing is working, right? Like, he also, what a flex that I'm so present with my son that he doesn't even notice that I work. That's what I said.
That is
I was
the
offended
goal.
at first, but yeah, I was offended at first, but then I was like, so I think it's kind of amazing when they get to watch you work, right? Like, there's like, it's obviously very obvious to my son that, like, my husband puts on a hard hat and like climbs giant ladders and like doesn't do that at home. So what is your like decision like that to know when to bring your kids, and like, you know, do you think about their experience there? Is it sometimes just like, yeah, as a family, we just go to these things. Like, that's just how it works, you know?
First, I am very grateful that your husband is an electrician, is needed these days. It's one of the cool job that AI has a harder time replacing.
Yeah, he's not getting replaced. Yeah.
As for bringing them at events, it's been interesting. So, for instance, I brought them at Dreamforce with me, and frankly, it might have not been the best decision, because when I did, even though it was me who was organizing the event at a cool club, they wouldn't let them in because they didn't want the liability to have kids inside, even though I was the one paying for the bills.
Oh my God.
And I didn't bring a nanny or anything. I was just like me with the boys. So me and my husband were there. So one of us had to stay with the kids and not come to the event. So maybe it was not the best decision, but I'm kind of learning and adapting, because this is not normal what I'm doing. Not that I'm doing it feels normal.
No
You're
rule book
making
here.
it up as you go.
So I would say that I don't have a rule. I trust my intuition, knowing that if they're going to have fun and I'm going to have fun. And I'm observing that it actually, with our customers and our prospects, it creates better relationships, because they can play Monopoly with my kids, or they can play chess or whatever the games that we're bringing about. And they get to know that side of me, and I get to know that side of them. And it doesn't have to be so strict and it's all about like goals and outcomes and, you know, the kind of thing that we get into at work. So it's beautiful, but it's hard to, I found it, I just use my intuition in the moment and I go and I learn. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right. That's parenting, right? That's all of it. That's it.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yep. And then you just move on. Like, there's like, yeah, that's like,
Try again tomorrow.
yeah, exactly.
More creativity. That's what all I need is more creativity. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So if I remember, Chili Piper was born before your children, right? Yes. Okay. So how did that sort of evolve? Like, you guys deciding to have more kids and the timing in the business. What were your thoughts going into parenthood as a CEO already?
So we started the company in 2016, and my husband had two daughters from a previous marriage, and when I met them, when they were 3 and 1, so we had them half the time, and at that time we had them half the time, and I had this at least of understanding of what it takes to. I was just multiplying that by 2, and I could understand what parenthood really looks like. Obviously, it's a little bit different when they're bonus kids, but at least it gave me some approximation. And I could tell you I was terrified of giving birth and having 2 more kids in addition to the business and in addition to everything else that I had as responsibilities. The reason why I was terrified is I just couldn't imagine how I would be able to compete with others who have all the time in the world. And how can I be able to compete and be at the same heights with other companies that started at the same time with me. And this stark reminder, especially now because of the AI race. So for instance, I was in San Francisco at the beginning of this week, and I can see these AI native companies and their offices and how they operate. And there are generally a lot of kids, like in their I call them kids, but maybe not really kids. They're half my age. And I see how they sleep in the office in nap pods. They don't do anything else except work, and they play with their Cloud Code and their FTP servers and like improve LLMs and all that. And I can see that they have a lot more fluency than I do in this world, and they have an advantage of just having more hours in the day. I always had that in the back of my mind, even in 2016, that I will not be able to compete. So I had a lot of fears around it, yet I could see that if I wouldn't have done it, I would have missed on a part of life that maybe is a lot more important than dollar amounts in pipeline and feeling productive at work. So at some point, I believed strongly that the trade-off is worth it. And boy, I was right.
No, that's great. I know what you mean. I think that when you are, ambitious and you're doing well at work, you're at the top of your game, right? And then you're trying to make these decisions about what happens next. You do consider how it will change your performance versus the performance of others or the people on your team, especially if it's, largely other men. I think that it's just a very interesting sort of like thing to try to forecast. And you try to forecast what you think it will be like, and it's never what you think it will be, right? It's always something different with motherhood in general. What I hope by sharing some things, whether it's, on this podcast or on LinkedIn or just with my friends, I hope it helps them forecast a little better, like what is possible and, what could happen depending on how you choose to approach it. So I just love hearing like all of the different approaches for that reason, because it helps people see, maybe what they could try to do.
I do want to add that one unexpected outcome out of it that I would have not guessed ahead of time is that while, yes, I have fewer hours in the day than my competitors, and yes, I might be behind some models, maybe I'm behind Opus 4.6 or whatever, but I'm observing that I've drawn a quality that I would have not drawn otherwise, which is the ability to think long-term in a way that's very grounding and is very, gives me a lot more joy in the process, where I can see myself in this role as a CEO for, I said it to my husband and he thinks it's funny, until I'm 150. And unlike my competitors who are just looking for an exit, because that's for them, the ultimate goal, it's a goal of making as much money as possible and then retiring, and like, how do they call it? Fuck you money or something like that. And that's kind of the ultimate goal. I have a lot of these friends that did make fuck you money, and they observe themselves that they feel empty afterwards, because at the end of the day, money is only one aspect of our life, right? And at a certain point where you already have a roof over your head and you have food, everything else that's extra is not really that meaningful. If you have an extra pair of shoes or an extra pair of God knows what, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And a lot of them hit a lot of dark times where they get into a deep layer of depression because the meaning is not there. Whereas for me, the meaning is already here. So I'm not working to find meaning. I'm working because of joy. And that changes the game. So yes, some of the companies that I've started with at the same time might be more ahead of than me. Others have folded in the process, but I see myself a lot more here for the long term. And the fact that I see myself in the long term, I make decisions that are going to allow me to survive whatever things that life might throw at me, which I believe in this era where everything feels so chaotic and so hard to predict is a superpower. And I would have not got that superpower if I didn't become a mom.
Amen.
I love that.
I feel like that's it, right? Like, I do think there is this perspective gained, right, with motherhood and having a family and seeing your kids grow. And it's also so tangible in this like very digital world. Like you're talking about Opus, like your kids are not LLMs. They're human beings, right? And you're watching them like, well, maybe you figured out how to make them LLMs. I haven't figured that out. But this like really like tactical experience of watching them learn and grow and the impact of them. It's right in front of you, right? Like I always talked about my decision to go out on my own. It's like I would come up from my office and I visibly saw every single day what I was giving up by being in 8 hours of executive meetings where I didn't have control over my calendar, or being told that I had to travel when I just wasn't ready to do that, right? Like, it's really tangible and in front of you to say like, oh, these are the things that are happening and everything else is gravy, right? Like, the highs are high, the lows are low. Like, let's just try and ride the middle, which I think is like really, it also comes with time and maturity too, right? Like, you've been in business for a long time. Like, you know that there are great parts and there are really hard parts. And like, Chili Piper's also a baby that you've raised, right? Like, or a teenager at this point, right? Like, there's, you know, it's a part of the process, right? I would really love to hear about the conversations you had with your husband about when you guys decided to have kids again, because you both were running this company together, right? Did you take any leave? Did he take leave? Like, how did you support your kids while you're running your business? Like, what did that partnership look like? Did you have a primary parent and a non-primary parent? You know, like, that's, I feel like you guys are a really unique case, right? Like, because you guys had the same job. So what did that look like?
My husband is very unusual in that he wants 100 kids in addition to running a million things. So he is the one that reminded me of the beauty of life and what really matters at the end of the day. So I feel very grateful for that. And it comes with his culture. It's very specific to the French culture, where they focus a lot more on pleasure and on life and on relationships, more than in my culture, which is Romania, where it's like the opposite of that. I got to experience the joy of everything through him. When we started the company, I only accepted to start a company with him because he said, "You're the CEO and I'm the president." And that's how he kind of convinced me to give up my corporate. At that time, I was making a lot of money and I was the primary breadwinner in the family. So him saying, "Okay, I'm the president and you're going to be the CEO," kind of got me inside. When I gave birth, I actually realized that I will not be able to be the full-fledged CEO that I was when I wasn't pregnant. Being pregnant was like taking all my brain resources, and it was like really difficult.
It's the worst.
So I stepped down as a CPO, like Chief Product Officer, because that's where my zone of genius is anyway. And he stepped up as a CEO. And then when I came back, now we decided to be co-CEOs because he was able to take as much as I did. And we keep shifting our responsibilities, like what we are taking and what we're doing. But it's always around joy. So if we notice that certain things are draining, we try to hire someone who really loves whatever it is that we find draining, because we're crafting our roles around that and around what we really love and what we're really good at. But it doesn't feel like a chore. And it's the same at home. So for instance, I hate doing the dishes. I can't touch them. I make a mess out of them. I can't stand it. He loves doing it too. So it's like perfect for that. He can't stand folding stuff and I don't mind folding stuff. So we have the spread of responsibilities based on what we like doing. So I don't have like a primary parent. We just have stuff that we like to do.
So you're co-CEOs at home as well.
He drives them to school. I hate driving them to school. I hate, but he loves it. So, stuff like that.
Yeah, I hate being outside. My husband's like, "We'll go shovel." I'm like, "Great, that's good news," because I have a kid that wants to be in the snow all the time, and I'm like, I just hate the snow. It's like, I don't. You have to find your other half. It really is important, especially in parenting. It's like we both fight over doing the laundry because it means you get to be in the other room quiet. It's like the dishes are too close to the kids. You know what I mean? Like there's.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, the negotiation is never ending.
I wonder if you guys have experienced this. So I work from home, and for a while, one of our kids was still at preschool. And so he needed to be picked up every day. Well, Brian goes to the office every day. So he would do drop off and pick up because he was the one leaving the house. And it just made sense because I didn't need to go anywhere. And the other boys would just get on the school bus. So he was kind of the primary parent at the pickup and drop off at preschool. And anytime I walked into that building, they were like, "Oh, mom's here." Like I felt so judged because I wasn't the one doing all of the pickup and drop off. And they made it sound like some huge, crazy surprise that I showed up at school. Have you guys seen that at all?
I know that feeling because my husband also drives them. So he always sees the teachers and the other kids as well. And it's my nanny who picks them. So I'm rarely at the school. And I noticed that if I had self-judgment about myself on that front, then I would take the others as self-judgment as well. It depends on what time of the day I was. But if I didn't have self-judgment for myself and I was just like celebrating, I'm finally here, I made it, I was able to do it, then I would see their remarks as a celebration of what I was able to do. So I always observe that I only feel criticized in my own head if I criticize myself for something.
Yes.
And that's something that I constantly work on. It's
That's a good point.
How I reframe things, because really we are impacted by it only if we believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally believed
That's a
it.
big one.
That
Yeah.
felt
I was gonna say.
terrible.
Mal was like, yeah, I felt that hard. Yeah, we went through a shift back and forth because when I was pregnant, I was also working a lot more. Not a good timing for that. That was terrible. But the second time around, my kids are 2 under 2, so I was pregnant for like 2 years. And Mallory did the same thing, so she can relate. But I always did drop off and pick up when my son first started daycare because my business was pretty young. And so I had like one client. I was still trying to figure out like exactly what my offer was. And I was purposely taking it kind of slow, but we didn't want to lose his daycare spot. So we still sent him. But I would I'd hang out for a little bit when I first dropped him off because he was really little. He was like 5 months old. So they'd let me sit down and play with him. And now if I'm there, it's like in, out, up, down. It's like we never know who's going to pick him up. Like every day it's like, all right, can you get there in time? Can I get there in time? It's like a negotiation. So yeah, the daycare never knows who's coming, who's going. And sometimes it's Nana. I'm like, hey, my mom's coming today. It's like none of us could make it. So the bus Nana is driving is coming to get him. But
It's fascinating to me because I don't know if you observe, but generally women are a lot harder on themselves when they miss this kind of stuff, whereas men, you don't see that kind of self-criticism as much. Obviously, I'm generalizing a bit because different women are on different levels, and same with men. But I've discovered recently that there is this something called the DMN, the default mode network, where it's a part of our brain that's in some people a lot more developed, and especially if you're a mom, where you are a lot more self-aware of your actions and you are a lot more self-reflective, where if that DMN is of smaller capacity, you go straight into action, which is a lot more effective because you don't have like that self-judgment and that self-criticism. So obviously people that have like a low DMN perform much better because they are in action mode and they don't spend will cycles on criticizing themselves and like beating themselves down. So I'm now becoming a lot more aware of that. And for sure, my DMN is like exploding, and it's been exploding for the past couple of years, especially because it's amplified in my case because I see so many people. And I'm constantly watching it as, okay, you're self-aware. You're trying to find things to improve them, to make yourself better, but you only have 8 hours in the day. Like everybody else.
you just DMM'd your DMN. You just like are talking to it.
I know you want
Did you make it worse?
I just write down. I talk to it. I know you want to make everybody else.
It is hard.
It's so
It
interesting.
is. I would love to hear a little bit about your experience of, like you just said, when you were pregnant, it took like so much of your brain, right? Like when you were like working and running a company. In terms of the mental load of parenting, like as your kids have gotten older, I actually find that every time I talk to my kids are really little still. I have a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. And so they're not like in a million, activities, and school's not asking me to do a lot of things for them. Like I know Mallory had like Valentine's she had to deliver and like all this stuff. Like I don't really have that yet. Like what is it like now? Like as you run your business and also have to navigate the like mental load of kind of managing your kids' lives in a way where you want to be present, and there's just a lot of variables, right? Like how does that work for you?
I'm observing that with every stage of their growth, because I've seen like the movie before, like the most important piece is for them to have enough emotional intelligence and self-awareness to make really good decisions and be there. Like, for instance, I don't really even get involved in the Valentine stuff. I ask them, okay, do you need to do anything? And he says, well, they said that we can bring Valentine's cards if we want at school. And I asked, would that make you happy if you bring it to the other kids? And they said no. And I said, well, we don't do it then. We only do it if it will make you happy. It's fascinating because then they understand the consequences. They see at school that other kids gave cards and they didn't. And how that made them feel? Did it make them feel excluded, included? And I use that as an opportunity for them to self-reflect over the decision that they make. So for me, nothing has really changed because it's just me being present for them for whatever decisions that they make. I don't make decisions for them. Unless they're like in danger.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fascinating because the way I perceive my role, and this is different for everybody. Everybody has a different parenting style, but the way I'm viewing my role is as being there for them as a coach to remind them how wonderful they are and how capable they are. And if they make mistakes, being there with them, what they perceive as mistakes, being there for them to reflect what it is that they've learned out of part of the experience, and having that ability to do self-reflection and what the impact they had on others, what impact they have on themselves, what really matters for them. So for instance, in the case of the Valentine's Day, my 7-year-old decided not to participate, but he received a beautiful note from his best friend. And this note is like super touching. Like, I can't imagine that the 7-year-old were like that. He said, his name is Hugo. Hugo, I love that you're so funny and so compassionate and so smart. I can't believe that you're my friend. That was from like a 7-year-old.
So cute.
My son was so happy and so excited about it. And I said, how did that make you feel? I said, so happy. And I said, does it make you want to do something for Alexander also? And he said, yes, I'm going to bring him something. So it was like such a beautiful moment. Like, he understood what was on the receiving end, and that made him want to be giving as well. Because if I do it out of force, if I say, because the school asked you so, and they learn to do things out of force, out of whatever everybody else is saying, then they don't have a good regulating system. They don't have good intuition. And I don't want to raise people that just conform to the rules, because that's not how we thrive. We thrive for ourselves. And that's what I'm there to serve for.
Oh,
I love that. That's
we
really
learn
cool.
so much from these conversations. I come out being like, man, like, this is like you give me hope that I'm going to survive, what, say, ages 7 and 5 or 8 and 5 or whatever. I don't know.
I think I would drive myself crazy if I would think that I'm responsible for everything. I would drive myself insane, because
Yeah, it is hard. You want them to learn and you want them to grow, and you're afraid of decisions that they might make that are not correct, but you have to restrain yourself and think, okay, if it's not a good decision, we'll figure it out together. They'll learn from this. This is how they become little people that can just be people in this world on their own. So it is a wild thing to see. As we get closer to the end of our time here, I wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit more about how you guys at Chili Piper approach maternity leave and parental time off. And have you seen yourself put policies in place that reflect who you are as a parent, or is that a little harder to make work?
I would say that these policies we've had even before I became myself a mom, so it has not been as a reflection of my own experience, in that we've never supervised anyone for their working hours. We've never supervised anything on their computers. We haven't demanded working hours. We've not demanded anything out of our employees except for results, and results that are in base with what the industry needs, so not like invented results. So it's in like common acceptance of what we're expecting from that role. So everybody kind of makes it work with whatever they got, and they figure it out whether they want to leave, they don't want to leave, they want to stay with their kids when they're playing or not. I think that the hardest in our team have the sales team, which have to be present on the call, and it's just harder if they get distracted in the call. Yet I've seen one of our top performers right now, he has kids at home, and he managed to make it work, and he hits his quota, and they're littles. He managed to buy 2 new houses in addition to his own house from all his quota. So he managed to make it work. So I think it's up to our employees to figure it out. Obviously, we have maternity leave and all of that. That's generous compared to the industry. Yet outside of that, it's up to them to kind of figure out how they want to live their life, how they want to show up. Yeah.
That's great.
So the only segment we've consistently done on this show is that we call it our save of the week. So whether it was like a process, a product, a person that allowed you to be kind of a mom and working this week, like what is something that kind of saved you? I can start. Most of mine are strategies for toddlers, because that's like the where I am right now. And so this is one I implemented a few months ago, but I noticed it worked very well this morning, so it reminded me that we did this. So I remember my oldest is his name's Sebastian. So when we first got into this, like the part of toddlerhood where they have object permanence, they like don't really realize that if they let something go, it's going to come back. So he really struggled with leaving things, right? Like that's a very hard thing to do. Like whether it's leaving the house, leaving his blankies, leaving his whatever, like food. So we started doing this thing where anytime he moves from one place to another, he says goodbye, like bye-bye, like see you later, right? Like to us or his blankie or his snack or whatever, right? And so it's made getting out of the house a lot easier. It's made going into daycare significantly easier, right? So this morning he requested that, so he has like 6 blankies he wants to carry around all the time, which is just like super impractical. Like it's not a practical. So I ask him to say goodbye to 4 of them in the house, and then we say goodbye to the other 2 in the car, which is okay. And so I dropped him off at daycare this morning, and I said, say goodbye to your sister. So Willa was in the car. And he goes, bye-bye, Willa, bye-bye, blankies, bye-bye, crackers, bye-bye, car seat. He like just started saying goodbye to like every object. And then he went into school and he goes, bye-bye, mommy. And like, he got it, you know, it was this moment of like, okay, this like little silly thing that we used to do the same thing at the grocery store. He wants to bring a balloon home every time. And I'm like, no, they live here. So we have to say bye-bye to them so that we can see them when we come back. Right. And so it was just this little like moment of like, okay, like, if he understands when he says bye to things like that he's going to see them again, because he always sees me again, right? Like that's like, he knows that I'm coming back, the blankies are coming back, the baby's coming back, right? So that was my save of the week. That means we actually got into daycare without full meltdowns all 5 days, which was like a huge win.
I'm going to give that tip to my sister because she has the same age and she needs to drop him off. It's going to be really hard. That's a good tip.
Yeah. Object permanence is challenging for 2-year-olds.
Yeah. Shannon has all the best systems, all the tips. I love it.
I'm in it right now, so you have to.
Oh, what saved me this week? I think what saved me this week is maybe my friend Molly. So I'm here in Chicago, and we're just going to have kind of a girls' weekend and hang out. And I literally can't remember the last time that I did something like this on my own. My husband and I will go away a lot, but not as just like a girlfriend trip. So I'm optimistic that it's going to be a restoring weekend, and I'm really grateful that she wanted to do this. So Molly saved me preemptively. I'm calling it now.
I love it. All right, Alina, what's yours?
Something that we're working towards, I've not yet found the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's promising. We are observing that our little ones, because I teach them to be so independent thinkers, do not like to be forced into any activity. So they don't like to be forced into taking a bath. They don't like to be forced into going to that dinner at a set time or to set up the dinner or things like that. And I don't want to use threats either. And I don't want to use bribes either. And because I don't want to use any of these normal tools, what we're working towards is creating rules that everybody agrees on ahead of time. So what's something that we can agree on? What time should we all be ready for dinner? What does daddy want? What do you want? So like actively involving them in the decision making. They love that. We write it down on paper. We write contracts. They think it's the best thing ever that they're being treated like adults. And they tell me, Mommy, you did not involve me in that decision. I felt really disappointed.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to do
Created
this.
some monsters, but that's amazing. I love this.
Yeah, I'm not raising obedient kids, that's for sure. I'm really full-fledged kid adult. And the beauty of them wanting to be involved in decision-making and wanting to be part of this is that at school, the teachers assess them as super high EQ and super high on the responsibilities, because whenever they notice that certain kids do not respect the rule in the class, for instance, they have behavioral problems, they go and they talk to them, hey, maybe it's because you're not being involved in those rules. Maybe you don't agree with these rules. Maybe you want to be part of the rules, you know? So the teachers are like really amazed of their collaboration skills and consensus skills, which is like such a hard one to build, but I'm trying to do it at home. It's very difficult because we all have different expectations and intentions and so forth, but getting alignment on that, it's something that we're working on right now.
I love it.
Good one. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Well, Alina, we've taken enough of your time. This was wonderful.
On your birthday.
And on your birthday, no less. We hope you have the best birthday and hope we can talk again sometime soon.
Thank you for inviting me. This was the best gift for me. I derive a lot of pleasure from being able to be there for others, like any mom. So for me, being able to be doing this podcast for you, I can't imagine a better gift. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it was so wonderful.
We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Full Stack Moms.
We'll be back with more episodes that help you see you're not crazy and you're not alone. If we might be your people, please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to two women who have never done IVF talk about
IVF. Yeah. My friend's done
Speculate.
IVF. I know, exactly. It looks scary, so I don't really know. I was so queasy about needles before I had kids, and now I'm like, whatever, go for it. Like it's so crazy difference.